if you're doing anything in business, you probably need a graph, a chart somewhere. What's your sales per month, sales per region, sales per person, go on and on. How many tweets per second are coming in at Twitter, what's the wait times and lines at Disney World. I can think of 1,000 places I need a chart, and I need it to be live and hooked up to a real database. Well, Chartio is doing all that, and we're going to find out all about the world of charts right now. Who are you?
I'm Dave Fowler. I'm the founder and CEO of Chartio. I came from Minnesota, originally from, but I've lived out here for about 5 years. I went to undergrad for physics and grad school for electrical engineering, and then worked at IBM on the Xbox 360 for a number of years. And then I got accepted into Y Combinator and flew out here and started doing startups. Done a couple of them, and now focused on Chartio and focused on bringing data insights and data literacy to a whole bunch of different companies. So.
Why would an electrical engineer make a charting company? That's what.
I actually, it's kind of interesting. When I was a young kid, my mom taught me how to code when I was 11, and she worked at Unisys, and everyone there had their 25-year plaque, and it just seemed like a miserable place to work, and everyone was unhappy. So I always thought like software was a terrible industry to go into, but I loved it as a kid, and so I did physics in undergrad, and then I still like coding more than anything, and so I went into electrical engineering to kind of bridge the gap. But in the end, it turned out I still just really loved programming and software, and thanks to like San Francisco, like it's more fun to be a software engineer. You can do a lot more than just sit in a cubicle for 25 years.
So why do we need a company to do charts?
Great question. A lot of people try to build their own dashboards internally, and because it's such an important part of your company, you need to see what's going on. All your data is being stored in your database or other data sources all over. It's important to see what's going on. And if you try to build it yourself, sometimes you can make something in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, but it's something that you have to maintain. And when you want to add to it, when you want to get more insights out, and you'll always have more questions with your business, then you have to go in there and manually make these charts. It'll take 2 hours. If you get something where you have a nice chart creator, and we spend a lot of time on the UI and making a really easy to create chart creator, where making new charts, it just takes a couple of seconds, and then you can iterate and pivot on these charts. That makes such a big difference in the friction of seeing your data that we always say we have interesting board meetings in that we can sit down and ask questions like, where are people getting stuck in the funnel? And we can actually, well, let's check it out. And we actually make a chart and say, like, if people have a question like, are they getting confused by this feature? And we can say, well, let's see how many people do that feature. And we answer the question right at that table instead of saying, well, let's have a group investigate that for 2 weeks. And so just that speed of being able to see your charts and your data and your dashboards are so important. They should be a major focus of your company, but who has time to build it themselves? You should be focusing on your own application, and let us. That's what we do. We focus on that. Let us make a really great tool for you to use, and at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah. So. When I visit many startups now, I call them data porn walls. Yeah. I guess you call them dashboards, right?
Right.
There's like 6 big LEDs
right.
In the middle of the office where everybody can see what's going on with servers and what's going on with the business and stuff like that. Is that what you're hoping that people do with Chartio?
Yeah, a lot of our users put us on TVs, definitely. Some of the products you see out there are really flashy and like neon, and they're moving all the time, and they're cool, like fun widgets that people passing by will be like, oh, that's really cool that you kind of watch that a little bit. But they also take a long time to program the ones out there. And Chartio is meant for TVs, but it's also meant to be on your computer, something you check every day, just on your own, and it sends you email notifications of the charts that you see. But we really think we focus on the important metrics, the things that are in your database, the number of sales you have, your inventory, the engagement your customers are having. And it's less operational. It tends to be, these porn walls tend to be more operational, like how many people are on the site right now. And it's more analytical that we focus on. And be able to create those charts and asking questions of your data rather than just seeing the same charts day over day.
Yeah, your charts aren't just a standard, turn a grid into a chart like you can with Google Docs, right?
Right.
Walk me through creating a chart and what I would actually see on the UI.
Yeah, so in Chartio, you first start with kind of a dashboard and you add charts to it. And when you adding a chart, what we do actually when we connect to a database, what we do is we pull out the schema of your database. So what tables and columns are in your database. And we display that to you on the left sidebar of the chart creator. And you simply drag which columns you want to chart. If you want a date on the x-axis and you want a number of sales on the y-axis, you just drag these over. And we automatically write the query under the hood. And we run this query on your database. So it comes back with the most instantaneous live results. And then that data that comes back, we format for you, and we let you choose which type of chart you want to plot it in, a line chart, a bar chart, area chart, scatter plot, sometimes just tables, like whatever type of chart you desire. And then you can keep iterating on that, splitting it out by different regions or sales product categories, whatever the data is showing that you have. So we make it really easy. And under the hood, again, we're just creating the SQL, we're running it on your database. So it's very lightweight, but very powerful. It's like if you were building it yourself, that's how you'd build it. You build a web application that runs these queries, but we do that for you. And different than a table, like you asked, usually in a spreadsheet, you already have that data, somebody already queried it for you, and then you can make a chart, and that's pretty easy. And if you're just working with CSV data, then you should probably just still use Excel or something. But when you're actually constructing queries to actually get that data, we think that's kind of the harder part. And so that's how we differentiate from a product like that.
And you can edit the queries, and it'll like edit what you see on the UI.
Yeah, you can either use our UI to create the queries, or you can also, if you're an engineer, they like to go into and actually write their own custom SQL. Sometimes you have like pretty advanced nested queries that you want to do, and it just doesn't make sense to build all that in UI. But we give you all the flexibility you want by going in and writing your own custom query.
It's really, really cool. Can you drill in on a chart too? Tell me what else you can do.
So we have a big philosophy that charts shouldn't just be static. Like if they're on a TV, they're kind of just static. It shows you the same thing. And really, when you see a chart, you usually are told an answer, but then that answer usually makes you ask other questions. And so we try to make very interactive dashboards. So when you come to the dashboard where you save your charts eventually, you can actually click on the different bars or lines in the chart, and it'll actually zoom you in automatically. We rewrite the query to be zoomed in on that date range or whatever range. And then you can choose to pivot by other columns in the database if you want to display it in a different way. And you can continually drill down, and you can drill down all the way to the bottom where you see like the raw columns where you say, okay, I've just drilled down to this particular day in this particular product category, and here are the table of the actual 5 sales that we got on that day in that product category. So we think that's really cool that you can just really drill down, and we really think of ourselves as a very human interface to databases. Like there's so much gold in your database, and we are just thinking of ways to make it just really easy and lightweight for anyone, whether you're technical or not, to be able to drill down and have a feel and a sense for what's going on in the database.
I was just thinking if I was working at Walmart and that I would want to see sales per day, sales per store, sales per region, sales per whatever.
Exactly.
But if the sales went down for some reason, I'd want to start thinking about why did it go down. So could I hook up databases like from weather.com or something to show different data that's coming in from externally?
Yeah, exactly. Walmart has an amazing data team, and they do stuff like that where they get data from all over the place.
Because maybe the weather, the weather kept people from going to the store. So
right.
But I would want to see
Or it sells
that.
more rain boots when it's raining, and it makes sense. Like if you didn't sell any rain boots, well, it was a drought season, so you know that stuff. But exactly, so we let you plug in data sources from all over. We're launching more all the time. We connect to most SQL-based data sources. We also connect to Google Analytics, and we're announcing right now actually that we are releasing Salesforce support. So actually all your sales leads and the workflow and that goes through your Salesforce can be much easier plotted in Chartio. And the great thing is, one, we have real-time charts where the Salesforce data only updates once a day. 2, it's a lot easier to make these charts than it is in Salesforce. And 3, you can plot it right next to your database data. So the sales that Salesforce is recording and then the sales that are actually being recorded in your database get mapped up, and you can also see your inventory next to it, for example. So all kinds of things will be possible now that we have Salesforce combined with your database data.
Very cool.
So.
What else do I need to know about the world of charting? Because it sounds like a lot of fun to play with this stuff.
Yeah, we really love working on it. Like a lot of the people in my team come from other engineering companies like Splunk and data companies and other companies where they've, including Twitter, where they've built these systems internally in their company. And they get really excited about the fact that we're going to build an even better one and we're going to give it to everybody so that people stop making their own and start just using a better one because people don't really care how it was built or where it was built. They just want to be able to use it really well. So we really focus on that design and the usability and keeping it simple and making it so that everyone can use it. And we'll just keep working hard at that.
It seems like it's a good business to be in because of sensors, because of data.
Yeah.
You know, we all need new ways to see things in our lives, right?
So we really believe at Chartio that data literacy is just expanding enormously. 20, 30 years ago, you know, barely anyone used computers or knew how. You know, it wasn't as common. And today it's just like the computer literacy is huge. Everyone uses it for their job. And we think that, you know, over the next 10, 20 years as well, everyone will start having more data as part of their job. Like, you know, how many followers you're getting, how many views on these videos you're getting, and figuring out like what you can do to make that more active and make your users more engaged.
I'm thinking like if you're running the San Francisco Giants, you want to know how many beers per hour you're selling.
Exactly.
Which stands are the most profitable for you, you know,
right.
So you can maybe get more help there, you know.
Companies are becoming more and more data driven, and there's all this talk about there being a lack of data scientists. And we really think that there needs to be more data science, but also that everyone in the company will just become more like data oriented, that they can at least do the minimal of reading these graphs and making decisions off the charts and kind of knowing what questions they should ask, you know, to be able to sell more beers or something at the stadium. And we think the bottleneck in that is the tools available. There just isn't like that Excel. Excel has done like so much for the expansion of computers and data munching and stuff like that. But when you're talking about databases, Excel doesn't do that great. And when we're talking about bigger data, you know, you need a product like Chartio that helps you write those queries and make the charts and monitor those over time. And that's really what we're focused on, is that user experience and making it really simple for companies to use and people to use.
How do you guys get paid? How much does this cost?
Yeah, so we start off, we tier it based on number of users and projects, and so we have 3 plans, one for just a single analyst and a team plan and a company plan. Our price starts at $95 for that single analyst plan, and then it goes up for their tiered off of a number of projects and number of users.
Tell me a little bit about the company. How was it funded and how many employees and what's going on?
We're 8 people right now. We're based a couple blocks from here in South Park. And we received $4.5 million Series A from Avalon Ventures about a year ago. But we haven't spent a lot on that, and we're already like ramping up towards profitability. As I said, we launched a couple of months ago, but we were actually growing 30% month over month for about 6 to 8 months now. So our growth's doing really great. We're very happy with it. And we just continue to grow our team and the product and our company. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Where do we learn more about it?
Chartio.com.
It's chart.io or chartio.com?
So we used to be chart.io, and now we switched to chartio.com. It seems like every startup these days has a .io. I bought chart.io and chartio.com at the same time about 3 years ago. And we've recently just switched over to the .com just to be a little bit more big business friendly and look a little less startup-y, I guess.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks for coming out and showing it to me. It's really awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
what
what you're doing for developers.
Thank you.